Barbados, get up. Good morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Indeed, morning to you everyone and welcome to today. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of February 2025. Time slips by so quickly, doesn't it? I'm Pearson Bowen, so good to have you company. And it being the 12th means we're a couple days away from Valentine's Day. Have you completed your Valentine's shopping? Have you done all that you need to do to say to that special someone in your life, Happy Valentine's, we love you dearly. If you haven't, you still have a couple days to do so. And speaking of the 14th, by the way, on Friday, Mornin Barbados moves to Holt Town for the culmination of this year's Holt Town Festival. So we'll be coming live from Holt Town on Friday morning. So that's every good reason for you to wake up even earlier to turn on your TV and be ready as we delve through all of the happenings in the final weekend for the Holt Town Festival 2025. It's going to be spectacular. But thank you so much for joining us on our social media pages on Facebook and also on our YouTube stream. We love when you interact with yourselves. We love when you interact with us as well. So continue doing so. And as I always say to you, it's too good a show for you to keep to yourself. Tell someone else about it. To wake up with us every morning at 6 o'clock, Monday to Friday. And if you have an idea, a thought, or something to share with us, please do by email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And thank you for your cooperation. Now, today I have a question for you. This question goes to all who will be passing through today as well. If suddenly you became a giant, what would be your greatest inconvenience? Seriously, if you suddenly became a giant, and in other words, if everybody else around you was dwarfed, so to speak, and you found yourself larger than life, larger than you thought, what would be your biggest inconvenience? I know a number of you are going to say to me, clothing. I'm right? Am I right? Suddenly you have to buy new clothes, right? Or find new cloth to make new clothes. So what would be your biggest inconvenience if you suddenly found yourself a giant? You overgrew who you thought you possibly were. So give us a call now on 228-5562 or 228-5563 and let me know what would you think to be your biggest inconvenience. And if you care to comment on our Facebook page as well, please feel free to do so. We'll share your comment with our audience as well. So if you suddenly became a giant, what would be your greatest inconvenience? You looked down and you saw people as specks, and suddenly what? What would be your greatest inconvenience? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Someone already said to us, if as a male, you could not find a female companion that would fit. Y'all are so crafty. Y'all are so crafty. Give me a call though, 228-5562 or 228-5563. If you woke up and you found your giant, what would be your biggest inconvenience? Now, coming up today, it's Wellness Wednesday. We want to take a look at women's health in particular. Dr. Barker is here. He will talk to us about a condition known as hysteroscopy. What is that? And what is the treatment options? What is that really all about? You will find out this morning because it very well might be about you. So ladies, listen up a little later to hear what that is about, hysteroscopy. This morning, we'll remind you of a space on earth in Barbados that is absolutely serene and peaceful and lends to your calm experience. Where is it? We'll share with you, and I mean it is spectacular. They have some wonderful things that are possible in that space, and we will share with you this morning about that. When we get to talk about HR with Rarama, we want to look at domestic abuse awareness in the workplace. Are you coming to work and finding different reactions by people and you're wondering what's going on, but you ignore it, the signs, those kinds of things we want to talk about when we talk HR with Rarama this morning. And what do you know about Rarama? I know the word sounds unfamiliar to a number of you, to me too. What is Rarama? When is Rarama? Can I go to Rarama? We will talk to you a little bit more about that in just a little bit as well. And can you raise an emotionally intelligent generation? Is that possible? Or are we just bandying about words, emotional intelligence? What would it take to raise an emotionally intelligent generation? We'll talk to you a lot about that as well. Now, Ross Lelam says, even as a giant, living in Barbados is inconvenient because of traffic. As a giant, you would find traffic inconvenient? For real? When you could fee, five, four, fun, and trump yourself your way all over the world? Make it a sport. Would you knock down trees? Would you go and pluck up somebody's house and put it somewhere else? You're the giant. And as a giant, you find yourself with superhuman strength. And you can go all the places that you want to go. So what would you do? What would be your biggest inconvenience? Because suddenly you'll realize, I suppose, that that car that you treasured, you could no longer fit in. I'm serious. Would that be one of your inconveniences? Would you find the inconvenience finding enough food to feed your size? And I'm just giving you ideas. Those are probably some of my inconveniences, but what are yours? 228-5562 or 228-5563. And as I keep telling you, interrupt me at any time to share with me your inconveniences as you see them. So if you've suddenly found that you are a giant, what do you think would be your biggest inconveniences? Also want to remind you that today being the 12th, you have until the 15th to enter our vacation competition. Mornin Barbados is giving you 4 weekends, 4 couples, 4 weekends. And these 4 weekends are going to be held at some of the biggest hotels on this island, staycations. So we want to give you today, you have 30 seconds to 90 seconds to send your video in by WhatsApp to 467-5465, or you can send it by email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And thank you in advance. We have a call. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Pearson.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. And you?
You're very welcome. I'm well too. Thank you for asking. What's your name?
My name is Terry.
You're the Terry.
Yes, please.
All right, Terry, ma'am. If you found that you were a giant, what would be your biggest inconvenience?
Finding somewhere to live.
Why would that be an inconvenience?
That's because I wouldn't be able to get in houses or anything like that.
Or because you're thinking of a house. But where else do you think you could possibly lay your head at night?
Underground.
Correct. Terra firma, lie down and go to sleep. Find lots of large leaf trees and cover yourself as a blanket, and you're good. You know, you create your own space thereafter, don't you?
Exactly.
And what about in terms of the car? Now, the house is too tiny now. What about the car or the bus?
No, that would be impossible. I would have to make my own.
Yes, necessity is the mother of invention. So now you will need to build your own bus, your own car, right?
Yeah, I got to do like any Flintstones.
They crossed my mind too. Serious as a judge. But you have in your wardrobe some lovely dresses and frocks. So you know that suddenly as a giant, those can no longer fit.
No.
Girl, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
You have no idea. You probably go shopping, right?
I can fit in the stores.
I know, and there's nothing in the stores that can fit you either. So what will you do?
I was going to get bolts of cloth.
No. There's no bolt of cloth that will help you. Why don't you knit some fig leaves?
Huh?
Go back to the days of Eden.
Why are you going back in the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Pull off some banana leaves and stitch yourself some clothing. Fair?
That might be an idea back.
I gave that idea to you here. When you start to think that way, I am the one who gave you that idea.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome too. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Talk to me. If you found yourself a giant, suddenly, what would be your greatest and biggest inconvenience? Good morning. Hello.
Peace be unto you.
Likewise, Gail.
Each and every one.
Thank you.
Well,
you too.
Attire would be one.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, transportation and living space.
But you are a dressmaker.
Me?
Yes, you stitch things, don't you?
Yes.
Right. So why would clothing be an inconvenience to you?
Because I will have then to go and look for material to make clothes.
Why can't you take what you have and make a patched dress?
And then people looking at me a lot.
But it's your style. You think they would see you because you're huge. But does it matter? They're tiny. Everyone else around you will be tiny.
Too much trouble. You gotta pick and cut to fit and everything. No, go and buy be plain material where you could cut.
Okay, so which store you think will be large enough to accommodate you coming
No,
in to
that's
buy
not
a bolt?
accommodate me. I will give people money to let them go and get it for me.
You will deal with the little people to
Yes.
buy, to lift those heavy bolts of cloth to give to you. You're an unfair giant.
They can't put them on a truck and bring them.
Which is like a matchbox to you
I
as a
thank
giant.
all those delivery men who have to lift a lot of weight, and everything my heart goes out to them.
Indeed so. All right, Gail, thanks a lot, okay?
All right, have a blessed day, each and every one.
Likewise
Stay
to
safe.
you. Likewise to you. Thanks a lot. Let's turn our attention and continue calling, continue commenting. I love to hear from you, so don't feel free actually to do so. Interrupt me where necessary. Let's turn our attention now to Wellness Wednesday. And Dr. Barker, our friend, is with us. He's a gynecologist. Dr. Barker, morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. This big word, hysteroscopy, what's that about?
Right. Hysteroscopy is a minimally invasive technique whereby we put a camera inside the womb. So hystero is uterus and scope is actually the actual looking into the actual womb itself.
What are you going in there to find?
Right. So sometimes some women may have bleeding in between their periods for more than 6 months. Sometimes you can have bleeding after menopause, which is abnormal. And sometimes you can have an ultrasound scan which shows a lesion inside of the womb. So these will be the more popular candidates for the actual procedure.
And the womb to a woman is like identification.
Yes,
She's a
please.
woman. She has
Yes,
a womb.
correct.
And so it's critical to care for the womb
Yes, please.
in that kind of way. So when we see these changes, the hysteroscopy could be one of the techniques to be able to identify
Yes,
what it
please.
is.
Yes, please.
So what are the symptoms that she would have to identify that she has a problem with the womb?
Right. So bleeding in between your periods for more than 6 months can signify issues inside the lining of the womb. So as
Is that
a result,
pain
well,
associated?
Well, yes and no. Usually it's asymptomatic. So as long as we rule out any infective cause for it, then the next reason will be, can it be a issue with the lining inside the womb? So seeing is believing, and tissue is the issue. So
I like that.
yeah. Once you think like that, you never miss anything. So so in terms of getting a tissue sample, the minimum standard would be taking an endometrial biopsy. However, sometimes you can get back tissue samples showing that you have like polyps and stuff, which are like fleshy growths inside the womb. The issue is that it's a blind technique, and although it gets about 95% of the diagnosis correct, sometimes it doesn't remove the actual polyp. So that's why you actually have to have a look inside. And in terms of like the older generation, if you have an abnormality in the polyp, usually like if you have endometrial cancer in the polyp, it actually starts at the tip of the polyp and then it comes down. So that is why it's important to have a look and to take out the actual fleshy growth.
We're talking, it's on the screen, folks, about the advantages of
Yes.
having the hysteroscopy. And you say it's to be able to see and treat in office or in
Yes.
outpatient settings.
Yes, please.
When you say outpatient setting, what do you mean?
Right. So if you go like to the hospital and you go like to a clinic, like a gynecology clinic, there are special clinics set up in relation to if you have bleeding in between periods or postmenopausal bleeding. So these clinics are actually specifically set up to actually do this in an outpatient setting. The reason why is because it streamlines medical care, especially for women. It has shown to be cost effective, meaning that there's a decreased cost doing it in an outpatient setting because the original technique was done in theater. And as a result, you have your theater costs, you have your nurses, you have your anesthetists as well too. So those costs will be automatically be eliminated by doing it in an outpatient setting.
Is it a long process? Is it a long procedure?
No, usually it takes about 10 minutes to do. So essentially in terms of counseling, once we counsel and consent the patient, we give them analgesia, which would be like paracetamol and ibuprofen. Very rarely, sometimes you have to give them a local anesthetic in the actual womb itself, which is called a cervical block. And very rarely still is to do sedation. We did an audit about 250 hysteroscopies. Less than 2% of patients had sedation in office. So those would be the patients that cannot tolerate like a speculum examination, or if the patient specifically requests it not to be done under local anesthetic or being awake.
So the potential for a little bit of pain or
Yes.
discomfort.
Yes. Yes.
But it's not a long procedure.
No.
And recovery thereafter is relatively short.
Yes, as long as you're not sedated or anything, within half hour you can start driving and stuff. Yeah.
Start driving and stuff.
Yeah, like walking about.
Carry on your normal business.
Normal business, yeah. The major inconvenience sometimes is that because we use normal saline or like water to distend the womb itself, you might get a little watery like discharge for a day or two, but usually that's the only issue. The risk of infection is less than 1%.
Well, that's good to know. And so the different procedures would be the vaginoscopy. Here I talk like a doctor.
Right. So essentially what that is, vaginoscopy is whereby you put the instrument, because the instrument is less than 2 millimeters in diameter. So essentially what we do,
tiny.
yeah, it's very tiny, and that's the way how we are able to do it effectively in office. Some instrumentation is over 3.5 millimeters, and once you get over 3.5 millimeters, then that's when you actually have to like give anesthetic and stuff. But with the smaller instruments, you can do it, you can talk to the patient. So essentially what the vaginoscopy is essentially, there are two ways of thought. There's the American, then there's the British. So the British like vaginoscopy, whereby you put the scope at the outside of the vagina, and then you turn on the water, and then you slowly go up through the vagina. Once you see the cervix, then you go through the cervix. That technique in itself is associated with less discomfort, and then to the patient is actually seeing what is going on, versus putting in a speculum, opening up the speculum, then grasping the cervix and then putting it in. All right. So the vaginoscopy technique is actually better tolerated than the traditional technique that most gynecologists will do.
Are a lot of younger females presenting with this issue though?
I would say about 20-25% of patients would have a hysteroscopy. You would find in terms of the pathology and stuff would be around, the majority would be like the older women over 45. Over 45 will be getting hysteroscopies routinely.
And that's because of the onset of...
Right. So usually if you have any bleeding issues over 45, then the actual incidence of lining of the womb problems increases dramatically. So say like you can have, worst case is cancer, sometimes you can have what we call endometrial hyperplasia, which is essentially the lining on steroids. So as like, if a person takes steroids, they get bigger. So the same thing with the actual womb. So if the womb, the lining is stimulated, it gets thicker. But as it gets thicker, sometimes it can become more abnormal. And once it becomes abnormal, then it can transcend up to endometrial cancer.
Could the number of pregnancies also be a factor in triggering later in life for this hysteroscopy?
No, usually like if you have issues whereby you don't have a lot of periods, so I say like if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome and you have like very irregular periods, then your risk of lining of the womb abnormalities is actually increased later down in life. But pregnancies, no.
Well, that's good. I mean, we've heard of all sorts of conditions that do evolve
Yes.
as a consequence of the number of pregnancies.
Yes.
But in this instance, it's not connected.
No.
All right. And so the procedure is short. The timeline for the procedure is short. 10 or so minutes you're in the office and both
Yes.
you're up to go, drive, walk, run.
Yes,
Do all
yes,
those kinds of
yes.
things. You may have a bit of a slight water discharge thereafter
After.
for a few hours.
But no, sometimes you get it for a day or two, depending.
For about a couple of days.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
Yeah, that's
And
normal.
obviously then you do the follow-up.
Yeah, I usually follow up in a week or two with the results. For argument's sake, 95% of the, like if you find a fleshy growth, so imagine if you have like a bean with a small stalk. So like if you have a fleshy growth, it usually has a very thin base. So as a result, you can either twist it off or cut it off. So sometimes you can get a little bit of bleeding from that, but that usually settles within 24 hours or so. But usually in terms of the discharge, by 48 hours, you're fine.
And you're done. And it should not recur.
No. As long as you remove it from the base, it doesn't recur.
It's like killing the root,
Yes,
so
please.
to speak.
Yes, please.
Whew. I'm sure a lot of women are saying, thank you, Jesus. You know, and all of this can be done as an outpatient. You don't necessarily have to be in the hospital to get it done.
The only time that, if you do a diagnostic hysteroscopy, and say like if you find anything abnormal, so you can get fibroids as well inside the womb. The issue with those is that instead of being like a bean with a thin stalk, sometimes the base can be broad. So depending on the equipment, because the equipment is the issue now. If you have like some of the third generation equipment, which is like a morcellator. A morcellator is like a cylindrical instrument that spins. So essentially what it does is destroy the tissue mechanically, and it's actually there's some suction hooked onto it, so it pulls everything out into like a vacuum basket. So what that does is that gives the advantage of doing the bigger type surgeries in the office, and usually sometimes very small percent of patients you actually have to take to theater to remove the fibroids because of the large base inside the womb.
That trunk has to come out.
Yes.
I have to keep it simple. Keep it simple like that. And so the procedure is available, folks. It can be done as an outpatient, or you can do it, as Dr. Barker says, in many different, but that's a discussion you have with your obstetrician gynecologist. It's possible, it's painless, it's quick, and it relieves you of the concerns that you have long term, which is a good thing. So ladies, if you don't know, now you do. Ask questions, do the consultations, and find out how you can find the solution through a hysteroscopy. Dr. John Barker, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We're average height. So if you find yourself a giant, what will be your greatest inconvenience?
Sleeping.
No way to lay your little head.
No.
Oh man,
and I like to sleep.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But thank you so much as always.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Morning Barbados continues in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
No, that's the life. I'm telling you, that's the life that everyone wants to live. A place where you can relax and recline and be rejuvenated. And that's what we're talking about now, the Bamboo Retreat. Joining us is the man behind the Bamboo Retreat, Steve Andrews, who is a master therapist. Good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning.
Good to have
Morning,
you.
Barbados. It's great to be here.
And I'm telling you, when you look at that, you're looking at that space for peace and serenity and the different procedures that happen there as well to enhance our ability to find peace and serenity.
Well, that video was 2 years ago, so imagine what it looks like now.
Well, help me imagine it. Help me imagine. What does it look like now?
It's just transfer with the nature. Lots of rain fell, so it's green, it's lush, it's just coming alive, and that's what we are trying to do. But I want to spend my time here really educating Barbadians. I mean, we all know Bamboo Retreat. We see the videos, we know the services. But I think that so much of us in the country that don't understand what we do, don't understand the benefits of massage therapy. Like now is into school, sporting season. I mean, there's so much athletes that take their body through torture. I mean, you're training young people to be elite athlete, but we have a tool that can work, the benefits of massages. Scar tissues, how do you break down those lactic acid? How do you get the athlete back up to achieve their objective, working on the athlete? We have persons that suffer from different problems that cannot have the basic massage, so lymphatic drainage massage and the benefits of lymphatic drainage and the impact that they have on body. Working with clients, terminally ill clients that have tremendous problems, how massage therapy works for those persons, pre and post pregnant massages for persons that is pregnant. The impact that it have on the body. I mean, when someone is carrying a fetus, everything about the doctor here was talking about that part, but the impact that they have on the body and how we can really help to release some of those problems, serious lower back problems, the ribs hurt, the legs hurt, different issues that happen, how we can have those impacts on the body or just normal day-to-day stress. How do we move some person from everything has happened to them, and then you can actually help them to move to that next level, relaxation. So it's just more than rubbing oil on person. I mean, when I'm traveling and I'm teaching, I keep hearing everybody asking me, how do I get respect in an industry? And that is, we have different levels of the industry. I mean, there's a sexual side that people always tend to throw at you, but that's life. But there's also another powerful side, which is the healing component of touch. Touch is the most important and one of the most powerful tools that we use, and we don't pay attention to it. So my concept when I come here, I really want to educate persons in the powers of therapy and the things that I see day to day when I'm working. How do people walk into my office with the world on their back and they live on top of the world? As
a consequence of touch.
Yes.
Let's break this down bit by bit, because one of the scenarios you painted was the athlete, since it's school sports time. And would massage work prior to event and post event?
They're both post and they're both pre and post massages. There's a different technique you use for warming up the muscles to compete, and then you have a different techniques that you use to warm down that muscles after exercise, different stretches. So you can put a lot of different what you call manipulation of muscles itself. The best thing when you're doing sports, I start massage is because of sport. That's why I become a massage therapist, because I was competing for Barbados. I compete martial art.
Oh, okay.
And someone sent me to get a massage, and I thought, wow, this is one of the best things. And I pursue this concept because of that. And because I understand the benefit pre and post massages, I become a therapist. So much of us don't understand how the body works. And when you understand how the body works, then you can find tools to help to treat the body. Like I had an athlete last year, 2 years ago, that he could not finish a race. And that was November. I take him by November, he have a scholarship. He's in Jamaica actually, with a full scholarship because he had he had an injury, scar tissue. Nobody paid the attention to the scar tissue. Everybody's thinking about recuperation, but how do we break down this scar tissue? And we can talk about scar tissue. Scar tissue is when you have an injury and now the muscles are rebuilding and it fused itself together. If you don't, manual goes in. With time, it might deserve to the body, but you can speed up those processes by going into the muscles and by understanding what you're doing to help that body, to help those person recovery, become the best that they can be.
And that's the value of massage.
The value of understanding what you do in terms of massage. There's a difference, and I always like to say there are two things. There are people that does massage and there are therapists. You have to be able to understand the difference in the two. Therapy is understanding how the body works and understanding your technique and finding the tools in your toolbox to fix the problem that the person has.
And that's what you offer at Bamboo Retreat.
That's what we do at Bamboo Retreat.
For the pregnant woman now, talk to me about the kind of, because there are different types of massages. And you hear all the names, Swedish massage, this kind of massage, and so forth. So there are different types, one would imagine.
Yes, a pregnancy massage is really understanding the body because when you're pregnant, it's such a risky time in your life. It's one of the most riskiest time that you have because the body goes through so many changes. It's like you were going and then you put 10 pounds in your tummy. It grows at times. And the different areas, the different muscles have to adjust to hold that body weight. And in terms of you have the inside of the legs, they call it the wrong ligament. You have the back problem because the fetus is pulling forward. And then you also have the ribs because the ribs is expanding. So you have to find the tool to find solution. And what we do, we build relationship with persons. Most of my clients, before they're pregnant, they were my clients. So we understand how the body works, or understand how the body works. And they become pregnant, and we continue that process all the way through. So it's about understanding and how to make them comfortable, how to put them in comfort through that massages and understand the do's and don'ts in terms of the pregnancy massages itself.
And it's not impossible. It's possible to do it. It doesn't harm the mother nor the baby.
Unless you having serious problems with that, but it don't harm the baby. In fact, it helps the baby. Babies come out, more happy and more joyful, more life that baby have. And actually, it remembers you. I remember doing a massage I had this massage working on one of my clients. So one day I was in Sheraton Center, and she said, "Hi, Steve," and she said, "Did you meet?" I can't remember the name. Yes. And then I said, "Hey, how are you?" And the baby did not see me; they just heard my voice, and the baby jumped. Wow. And it was like she said, "She knows you. She knows you," because you have that impact not just on the mother, but also on the child. I don't advise everybody because you do massage, you do pregnancy massage. You have to understand. So I did 30 hours training in terms of pre and post massages. So you have to understand how it works, the different concept in terms of what you should do and should not do, the comforting child or mother. All of those things become important when you decide, because it's a very risky time for a mother, but we can help them to ease some of those problems that they're having.
And we haven't even gone through all of the different types of massages, all of the different types of therapies that are offered at Bamboo Retreat. So if you need more information, and we do need more information, I know we're crawling across the bottom of our screen, remind us how to contact you, Steve.
Well, we got all of our Instagram. We have at the Bamboo Retreat. We have our Facebook page. It's thebambooretreat.com. You can find us. It's 436-9405. Number still the same, or 233-3104. Or you just drive up to St. George. We are right there in Walker, St. George. You cannot miss us. It's the only area that still have the mild trees. And we have a beautiful sign outside. So we are easy to find. And just give us a call. Let's have a conversation in what you're trying to achieve in terms of whatever problems are. And we can go on and on all morning about the powers of therapy.
Got it right. And it being Valentine's, remember this is one of the options as well. Don't just go buy roses and chocolates. No. No.
We have 2 spots on Valentine's Day remain, so
Really?
you should call now. We have
Call
2
fast.
spots.
Reserve them. 233-3104. 233-3104. 233-3104. Vereen Walker says, Lord, I hope to get to this place next time in Barbados. So come, book a flight, Vereen, and come on over and look for Bamboo Retreat. It is really, really quite relaxed. I told you there's a special place on earth, and it's in Barbados. It's the Bamboo Retreat, indeed. Steve Andrew is the master therapist, and he shows you the benefits of the different therapies that he offers and his team at the Bamboo Retreat. All the information is right there on your screen. I hope you've taken note. So book your space early. 2 more spaces remain for Valentine's, and so those are yours if you call right now and book them. Thank you, Steve.
It's a pleasure being
All
here.
right, Giant, what would be your greatest inconvenience?
Well, I like food and good food. So and since we are food shortage
Yes.
in these times, I mean, we will have to work hard. So maybe I'll have to find a land that can grow enough food.
So as this Giant wants to find the land to grow his food,
Yes.
eat some treetops. You're tall enough to get on those.
Maybe that's good because that's where the medicine is.
Exactly. There you go. Morning Barbados comes right back right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
20 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to talking HR with Hermab. You know, this is one of my favorite segments indeed. And this morning we're joined by a couple of ladies who are passionate about one particular cause. What is that cause? Listen up and listen very carefully. It plays out in the workplace almost every day and almost everywhere. But can we spot the signs? And when we do, what do we do? They have some answers for us this morning. And so joining me this morning is Barbara Daniel Goddard. She is the chairperson of a group called Advocates Against Domestic Abuse. With her is the vice chair in Caroline Bennett Jarvis. These double barrel names. She's also with the Advocates Against Domestic Abuse. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
And I know your color represents a cause.
Yes.
What does it mean, Barbara?
Well, yes, orange, or we use orange or purple for domestic abuse as a colors for domestic abuse.
But yours is a charity. Talk to me a little bit about the charity and what it is that you're set up to do.
Okay. Well, we have been established since 2018 and September 2018. And our main focus is dealing with predominantly women who are experiencing domestic violence within their homes. Yes, and outside of their homes. But predominantly most persons that contact our 24-hour hotline are contacting us as they are experiencing domestic abuse within their homes.
But then that comes to the office because we go to work, and we go to work showing our best selves as best we can.
Yes.
But then there are things that we are afraid to talk about, but people see. And sometimes we don't spot all of it. So why is there a need for us now to be able in the office to identify when an individual is experiencing domestic abuse?
Well, it is really challenging as an organization to make as wide a contact with people as possible. Yes, you'll do the usual publicity, etc., but there's a large section of the population that you do not connect with. Going into the workplace where the bulk of the population, adult population, are working, gives us greater access, and also our intention is to help them have a way of connecting with someone who could actually help them. So a lot of the time, regardless of whether it's public or private sector, most persons are hesitant to let people know they're experiencing domestic abuse at home. But they come into work, and those experiences can be shown in different ways, i.e. that person might start staying away from work, coming in late, and they might become aggressive, they might become very quiet. So a number of things can change, but people don't feel confident that they can actually let other persons know because it will become a form of gossiping. So we are looking at how we can change that.
And so, Caroline, the office is where we spend a significant portion of our day, and we make significant connections as well. And sometimes we mismanage those connections. How do we begin as employees together and colleagues together, identify and spot the changes so that we can begin to have some level of intervention in the office space?
Right, well, some of those changes, as I'm sure we're well aware, it affects work performance and mental health, which is a huge thing that has been in the spotlight for, fairly recently. So some of those changes could entail changes in mood. Maybe someone who is usually bubbly or outgoing suddenly becomes withdrawn, or on the opposite side of the spectrum, suddenly aggressive, more aggressive,
for no reason.
For no reason, yes, definitely. Some other signs are like unexplained injuries, bruises, marks. As a survivor myself, I actually went through that of, having things, and then somebody would say, well, what's that? And I, made a joke about, 50 Shades of Grey, and I just laughed along and brushed it off because of that sense of humiliation and that embarrassment, because I didn't want to divulge my situation. And some other things are, of course, work performance. Somebody who would typically do a fantastic job or work reasonably well, suddenly there's a loss of focus as well as a drop in productivity, and somewhat distracted. Maybe they're suddenly coming to work late, which they wouldn't typically do. So there are various signs as an indication.
So how do you bridge that conversation though? How did yours start so that someone around you saw what was happening to you and teased you with the 50 Shades of Grey, but you wanted to share, you wanted to tell someone, and how did that conversation start?
Well, to be honest with you, I never had that conversation, which is why it's important, because it happened suddenly for me. It wasn't certain signs and then, I was able to kind of make a connection. It was sudden. And I think that's what we're trying to tackle, being able to make that connection. In my instance, the abuser suddenly showed up at the workplace and physically and verbally assaulted me. And the company was able to put measures in place to make it a safe space. But there was no conversation that reached out to certain people. And prior to that, I would have had the conversation with the HR person and alerted, because it happened during a time when it was post-separation abuse, which is the most dangerous time in a domestic abusive relationship. So hence why we're trying to put mechanisms in place to make that, to raise that awareness, educate, and as I said, put those mechanisms in place to get that conversation going.
That's so important. Barbara, you wanted to say something because it's difficult. You see something, and you want to address it, but sometimes you're yourself too incompetent to do so. You're not sure, and you don't want to seem to be accusatory.
Yes.
But at the same time, you want to handle it. You want to do something about it. So how do we start, from the office perspective, those individuals caring enough to say, hi, Barbara, I've noticed these changes in you, and can we talk about it? How do we do that?
Well, what we are looking at as an organization is our first thing is connecting with HR managers, because those are the persons responsible for the employees. So we are going to make an effort to connect with HR managers and run some preliminary workshops to introduce them to the concepts, and also discussing what are their policies regarding, if they have any, regarding domestic abuse, and if they don't have any, what can they do? And out of that, we will then work with them in generating specific people who are points of contact for their employees. And HR would make those decisions about who will be the persons, because there's a number of things that has to be we need integrity, we need persons who can be highly confidential, we need empathic persons, we need emotional intelligence, we need those type of characteristics. So we will work with the HR person to develop, and those persons in the workplace, that is the focus of contact, etc., they would have us as their backup and their resource, and they also will be trained. So it will be a process of slow development, and which will be monitored by us, and we will be having a continuous relationship with those with those persons and the companies, etc. So we're hoping that this whole process will be starting this year, and that is very much part of our 2025 plans.
Are you hoping also that it is not shrouded within the health and safety policy, but it stands alone as a policy that looks specifically at domestic abuse?
Yes, that's what we would like. Of course, it's going to depend upon the size of the company, because all companies don't have a sort of specific HR role. So it will depend on the companies. Also, at the same time, companies do have to look at their finances. So if you set up something, can it, how to roll that out? What would it cost? So time, everything will have to be taken on board. Hence, all onset is connecting with the HR managers, because they have a good understanding of how the company is functioning and what are the possibilities. And an individual company might not be able to do that. Doesn't necessarily mean that you can't link with another company. So, it is that sort of connections that we're looking at. Although we have a 24-hour hotline, not everyone gets up and think, well, I'm going to ring the hotline and I'm going to discuss with someone and I'm going to meet someone, etc. And added to that, even when they do have counseling and therapy and all the other things that we can provide, they are still going into their workplace, and their situation is a 24-hour situation. Yeah, so you spend most of your life either in your workplace or you're sleeping. So the important thing is that when you walk into your workplace, you feel safe enough knowing that if that particular day you really feel the pressure of what is happening in your life, you know that there is someone within your workplace that you can discuss, and knowing and feeling confident that the information that you share is going to remain precisely there. Yeah, the biggest threat, I think, that, and we will find that, is that in a lot of workplaces, lack of confidentiality, and so that will be the biggest challenge for us, but probably a greater challenge for the HR persons. To choose someone. It's a bit like the family conflict unit, which is part of the police, and where they have a small unit and you have a large police force, but you got a small unit. So you have to be very, very selective when it comes to that.
You know, Caroline, I can imagine some employers thinking, oh gracious, more work for me, more you're asking me to do everything. I am not a kindergarten. I'm not responsible for what they do outside of the office. That's their business. But you're saying no, you also have a role to play in managing what's happening in the lives of those who you employ as well. And so what do you say to that employee who has that point of view that says, I'm sorry, that's not my domain?
I think it's everyone's domain because it affects everyone, even if it doesn't impact you directly. You either know someone or witness something. It affects everyone. And there's a lot of, I don't like the word, I can't think of anything else, but ignorance in terms of there's a lack of awareness. There's probably a better way to phrase that, because, you know, a lot of people are impacted, but we just don't know. And I think that in order to raise that awareness and to educate more, it is important. And I think that we have to instill why it's important. Because, you know, in certain situations, you've probably had a lack of productivity and not understand the reason why. So, as we talked about earlier, you've got to make that connection. And I think it's important for corporate Barbados to set that tone. So yes, we're looking for an ambassador. It doesn't necessarily have to be the HR manager, correct, Barbara?
Yes.
But to appoint someone that can basically take ownership of that and direct it in a way that, as I said, set the tone, because as Barbara had mentioned about, there's gossiping, there's judgment, there's, why doesn't she do this? Why didn't she leave? Why is she dealing with, why don't she just walk away? And it's not that simple. So if we have a tolerance in the sense, and to develop that knowledge to make that effort, I think that it would be worth their while, because I'm sure a lot of productivity and bottom line profitability out of that productivity would have been lost. So I think it's essential.
And so you ladies are embarked on an initiative to upskill us on all of this. So talk to me a little bit about the workshops that you're going to be hosting ahead of your meeting with the HRs and cracking down on businesses.
Well, our workshop will definitely start off with HR persons. We're now drafting out the structures, etc., and also looking at policies. And we will be looking at policies in other countries, what they do, and see how it impact, how we can use some of their concepts. And so that when we are discussing with HR persons who might not have any policies or might not even have given any thought to it, that we come prepared. So we will start off with some short introductory workshops, and out of that we will then start the building of what it would mean for the representatives in the company. Because once you start the HR workshops, then those managers then have to then go back then and think about how can it work in our workplace, what do we need to do, etc. And they will need a time frame to work with that. And then once they have chosen the person, then we then we'll start the training with that person. So we're looking at that. It will be something that will be done sooner rather than later, but that will also depend on the company's attitude to the whole idea. And remember that companies might not be aware or might not think it's fundamentally important that they implement some particular system. It's the same as sexual harassment in the workplace or bullying in the workplace. People might not think about it, but realize that it is fundamentally important. So we need to raise the issues of victims and also remember that in the workplace would be perpetrators.
Yes.
Yes. And so we will be looking at both areas, because as an organization we do have occasional perpetrators contacting us, and sometimes a perpetrator and victim can be working in the same organization. So it's presenting people with tools, giving them ways of managing, which is a horrendous experience for most people who will be involved directly or indirectly. And also that might reduce the potential for gossiping, knowing that something constructive is in place. People might start thinking, well, hold on a minute, I don't really need to do this. I really need to be a lot more empathic. I need to be a lot more aware, and I need to be start looking after each other rather than separating.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said as soon as possible. That's not a calendar month. Do you have
right,
any idea
okay.
how soon?
We're looking at doing in March.
In March?
Yes.
A couple months, well, next month.
Next
really?
month, yes,
So
indeed.
Those workshops will be primarily for the HRs of
Yes.
the different organizations in Barbados,
Yes.
and then you'll drill down thereafter.
Drill down from that, yes.
And is this something as well, hopefully you can open up to the public at large, because I think domestic abuse and the victims of domestic abuse exist everywhere.
Yes.
And so we want to be able to tackle this literally from the root as well at some point. Are you going to be doing that?
Yes, we are going to be running programs that will be happening later this year. We devising, because we have to look at our resources. Our organization is run totally by volunteers. So we need to look at the resources, how we're going to get those. And we have a charity house, and we will run the programs from there, etc. So it is, at the moment, we're in the planning process. Right. Yes.
What's the hotline number?
432-2873.
What's the hotline number, Caroline? I'm just teasing you. And the hotline is 24 hours?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it is
that's
24
fantastic.
hours, yes.
So if you find yourself a victim of domestic abuse, there's a hotline number you can reach out to. Offices and HR practitioners, you need to start talking to Hiramab today to find out more about how you can engage with the organization to not just bring relief, but support to those who work in your establishment, because if you do not, you will see decline, you will see decay, you will see disruption, you will see all of those things that you do not want to see, because it affects the bottom line. And oftentimes that's what happens in the C-suite, the bottom line discussion. And so we want to improve that bottom line by tackling these literally at the root. And so these ladies are part of the organization that looks at this. The chairperson of the Advocates Against Domestic Abuse is Barbara Daniel Goddard, and with her is her vice chair, Caroline Bennett Jarvis. They are here to help. So reach out and give support indeed. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Question for you. Giant. What's the greatest inconvenience for you?
Giant.
If you found out suddenly became a giant, everything that's around you is dwarfed by comparison, what would be your greatest inconvenience?
Finding a good bed.
Yes. To lay your head. You got to lay them somewhere. Can't work, right?
Yes.
Smart lady. Caroline, what about you?
Oh, God, you had to pose that question towards me. I have no clue. Finding a bigger bed and with lots of room and a nice glass of shandy to go with it.
Fair enough. You're the giant after all. Thank you, ladies. All the best.
Thank
all right?
you.
You're welcome. Morning Barbados takes a break. We're coming back with the news in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying you
Get away.
Are you and your bay ready for the ultimate getaway? 98.1 The One and Mornin Barbados are teaming up to give 4 lucky couples a chance to win an unforgettable vacation. Here's the deal. Starting January 20th through February 15th, send us a video to marketing@cbc.bb or via WhatsApp to 467-5465, telling us why you and your bay deserve a vacation. Videos must be 30 to 90 seconds long and may be shared on social media and on TV8. Be creative, be fun, and most importantly, show us the love. Submit your video and you and your bae could be packing your bags for an epic staycation. So, what are you waiting for? Send those videos in and let's make it a vacation to remember.
Vacation. Get away.
This promotion is brought to you by our valued sponsors, Pine Hill Dairy, Burger King, Post Wireless World, Girlfriend Expo and Arts Festival 2025, The Magic of Carnival, Hilton Barbados, Coconut Court Hotel, Ross Trevor Hotel, 98.1 The One, and Mornin Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Look at the news now. There's more work to be done to ensure and promote the national nutrition policy, especially with the vendors outside of schools. But officials remain confident that Barbados is well on its way to improving the stakes for children throughout the school system. And according to Education Officer with responsibility for healthy initiatives in schools, Heather Phillips-Boyce, a social media campaign feeding healthy features goes live on February the 17th. The campaign will run for 3 months and is targeted at primary and secondary school students.
With support from the Pan American Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a key pillar of the policy, the recognition pillar, will be rolled out this school year. Schools and various stakeholders will be rewarded for initiatives towards healthier school environments. We are currently awaiting submission from schools, and 4 schools will be rewarded with vouchers for supplies and supporting equipment worth 4,000 Barbados dollars.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Arthur Phillips says the policy is not just about restrictions of unhealthy choices, but also about encouraging healthy choices. And he says the Ministry of Health and Wellness remains committed to the transformation and encourages dialogue and public education on the policy to improve the health of Barbadian children.
Local manufacturers are responding by adjusting their product offerings to align with the policy's nutritional standards. And I see this as a major victory. We're also witnessing an expansion in the availability of new imported items, healthier imports. So better local offerings and better imports provide our students with better snack and beverage options that are in line with the school nutrition policy.
Member of Parliament for St. Peter Colin Jordan is in his contribution to the Rural and Urban Development Commission Bill 2025 rose in support of the bill, but he says land tenure in 6 men's remains unresolved since the 1970s. He says the people have commended him that he ensures that their representation is done.
They have indicated to me very clearly that I must not speak in a debate in this space on housing without saying very loudly and clearly that the matter of land tenure in 6 Mains must be resolved. It must be resolved. I know that the Honourable Senior Minister, Acting Prime Minister, has been working on that. I've had initial conversations with the Honourable Member for St. George South, the Minister of Housing as well. But I have to say, and I have to say it loudly, the matter of land tenure in 6 Mains has been outstanding for far too long.
Well, people should never have to compete to sleep in some urban communities. That's the view of Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance Dwight Sutherland in relation to the Greenfield Regeneration Project. Speaking during the debate on that bill, he said there are sometimes 14 people in one house and people sleep in shifts.
When you have to go to sleep at 8 and wake up at 12 so someone else can sleep, and get up at 3 o'clock in the morning so someone else can sleep, especially the men, where the men are going to the blocks. You can't be happy doing that. So we have to reduce the densities in the urban corridor and also in the rural corridors. There's no way we should have 12 and 10 people sleeping in a house. In a small house, a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, tell me, do the math. 10 and 12 in a 3-bedroom, do the math, tell me. Half a body? How are they going to sleep? So when the Honourable Member for Christchurch South comes in, he has to create a context in which we are building houses, why we are building houses, and why we have to do it at a rapid pace.
Mr. Sutherland said while there are maintained in the Barbadian vernacular in terms of the architectural design, land space constraints demand that a high-rise housing must be constructed.
Their designs are urban and are rural and are national housing that will be utilized and are being utilized in this country to maintain the Bajan vernacular. But it's not in every case. If you want to build 10,000 houses over a 5-year period, we can do piecemeal, 6 houses here, 7 houses there. No, we have to go to modern designs. We have to build up because we don't have the land mass. And he's talking about taking up land. He wants us to build them on the sky or in the sky.
There's a promise to address concerns that the sirens from the emergency vehicles are disturbing nearby schools. Home Minister of Home Affairs and Information Wilfred Abrams says the sensitivities of the students at the special needs institutions have been considered and emergency officials will be required to follow standard operating procedures.
All who are involved in traffic management in Barbados, Ministry of Public Works, the police, everybody's on the same page where it's concerned. Effectively, you're just controlling the traffic. You put on the siren to avoid the traffic or to alert that you're coming out. Once we trigger the lights to the south and to the north, then the traffic should be at a standstill and the vehicles can exit. And they have a relatively clear view onto the road, as you can see. Once the hoarding is down, the vehicles who are exiting this bay can see right at the road and right down the road. So they can exit safely, and once they're past the point where the noise is going to interfere with the children in the school, then you can trigger the siren and go about your business.
Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard says the Barbados Fire Service is engaging the Ministry of Education about plans.
In the very near future, probably next week or the after next, we will have a sit down again to finalize the actual operationalizing of the plans. That includes also some training for the schools, and the schools will be providing some training for the fire officers to deal with persons with autism and that such when they get agitated. So we have a comprehensive plan in place.
Sports now, the lively surface at Kensington Oval has been prepared for round 3 between the hosts Barbados Pride and Jamaica Scorpions in the CWI Regional 4-Day competition. That's the word from curator at Kensington Oval, Winston Reed, as the Pride, who are 5th in the standings, look to overtake the 4th place Scorpions.
This pitch is like they're moving over to the eastern side of the block. We're going to pitch 2. This one is fully covered with grass as opposed to pitch 5. We would have done some initial preparatory work in watering, and during the game, the previous game, we watered during the morning. And early in the morning, we would have given it a roll as well. So, and then after the game, we went ahead full steam, some more rolling, and trying to get it as hard as possible as well. From by tomorrow, you will see there's lots of grass through the entire weekend. So all in all, it should be a good contest.
Well, that tomorrow is today. The match starts today. BC announced that Kemar Roach has been replaced Kemar Smith. And viewers and listeners, you can follow that game live here on TV8 from 10 this morning. Also, you can listen to coverage on 94.7 FM. The admission to the Oval is nothing. It's absolutely free. That's our news until now. We'll have more news coming up at noon right here on CBC TV8. Morning Barbados comes back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
An hour of inspiration, celebration, soulful praise, and uplifting messages that will refresh your soul and fill your heart with joy. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Quality 100.7 FM radio, bringing you closer to the music, the message, and the ministry. It's your Sunday moment of praise and purpose where faith meets music. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Q 100.7 FM.
CBC TV8, the home of championships, will be bringing live coverage of Gold Cup, NAPSAT and BSAT in the month of March. Packages are available for sponsorship now. Contact your CBC sales representative today or call 467-5559.
Get away.
Are you and your Bay ready for the ultimate getaway? 98.1 The One and Mornin Barbados are teaming up to give 4 lucky couples a chance to win an unforgettable vacation. Here's the deal. Starting January 20th through February 15th, send us a video to marketing@cbc.bb or via WhatsApp to 467-5465, telling us why you and your Bay deserve a vacation. Videos must be 30 to 90 seconds long and may be shared on social media and on TV8. Be creative, be fun, and most importantly, show us the love.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
14 and a half minutes now after 7 o'clock. I asked you at the beginning of the show, do you know what Rarama is? I'm being so serious. Serious as a judge. There is something called Rarama. And if you don't know, you will find out now and you will experience on this weekend. So what is Rarama? We're joined this morning by the Public Relations Officer of the Barbados Rugby Football Association, Union. Yes, Union. Catherine Daniel. Good morning to you, Catherine.
Good morning. Oh, please call me Kathy.
Kathy, all right, I'll use the name I always call you by.
Thank
Kathy.
you, because otherwise I think I'm in trouble.
Well, that's what happened? Or when your full name is called.
You know when your mother calls you by your whole name? It's never a good thing.
Never a good thing. All right, Kathy, no problem. And Pauline Eugene, she is the organizer of Rarama. So, Pauline, I'll start with you. What is Rarama?
Rarama is what we consider continuous rugby with every group, stage, age, height, everything, just continuous rugby. So it's a festival which we have rugby for kids, rugby for the youth, for the school program, for women, men, adults, non-contact. Persons have never played before, we have a stage of rugby for that. Persons who are of any disability as well. So even my son is autistic, so he's part of the rugby as well. So people of all stages and ages in life. And whatever problem, whatever thing you have, you can play rugby. So that's what Rarama is. It's for everybody. And there's a place for you at Rarama.
So a senior citizen can play rugby?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Kathy, you're nodding your head.
Yeah.
We have a group of, shall we say, older gentlemen, aka the vets.
Yes.
And they have a good old time running about on Saturday morning. So yes.
So they do it twice a week, to be exact.
Really?
So that's
Thank you.
the time.
There you go.
Yeah, they do it twice a week. So we have an open practice on Wednesdays, which they are
take
part
part
of,
in. Mhm.
and then on Saturday mornings.
My production crew is giving me noise in my ears. So Pierre said, you could do it then.
Yes, you can.
And so can they.
Yeah.
Thank you
It's
so
an
much for
open
adding that, Kathy.
invitation.
So can you, fellas and ladies in the back. So, and they're saying they're not old, but nonetheless, yes, that's all right.
Young,
it doesn't
old,
matter. It's
in
any
between.
age, any stage of life, and any ability.
Yes.
Mixed abilities as well. So this Rarama will give us an opportunity, I suppose, to take a look at the different ways that the game is played.
Yes.
And it's not a spectacle.
No. The point is here for people to take part, to get to learn about what rugby really is, because there's a lot of preconceptions.
Yes.
You know, these big, thick men with no neck and all this kind of thing. And you know, it's when you actually go and watch rugby, the full game is very strategic. Yes, you need to be athletic to play at the top level. But then you can also just have fun. That's what we, touch rugby with the kids. You don't want 5-year-olds running around in full contact. That is asking for trouble.
Yes.
So they will start them with a touch rugby. So again, but it's fun. Get them, burn off some of that energy.
Yes. And that's what it's all about, indeed. And you remember when I started, we were off air, I said, oh, so you like to be rough. That's what I said to Pauline, because you come from a family that plays rugby.
Yes,
and
indeed.
enjoys rugby at all stages. I mean, the whole family.
Yes, at all stages. So I have a rugby mom, a rugby dad. My brother plays rugby. I'm actually St. Lucian, so we played for St. Lucian. I started playing when I was 13, and my mother had to sign the paper so I can travel and play for St. Lucian. So that's at what age I started. The avenues rugby open for me. I want everybody to have that opportunity. I've traveled to over 30 islands and 40 countries over the world. And I have a family in every place I assume to go and want to go. I have a family that I don't know existed. So I came to Barbados knowing that I had a family in rugby, and I didn't know that family yet. And that's what rugby did for me. Wherever I go and wherever I have been, there's a family I didn't know exist. And that's what rugby is.
Right.
Finding your niche and finding your place. And that will always be your family, whatever background, wherever you come from. It's like, you know those people before, but we never met.
Yes.
But we have something in common that we can talk hours about, and that's what
Yes.
rugby is.
Right. And so, Kathy, and that is just a part of what rugby is. Rugby is a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that family feeling, it is truly awesome. I had the privilege of managing the boys under 19 team on several trips, several tours overseas. And I'm very pleased to say I brought them all back alive. 22 teenage boys.
Yes.
And I still have most of my hair. No, all joking aside though, you make friends, you make connections, people that you would probably never have encountered. And because there is that shared common ground, boom, you're family. And it doesn't matter where you are. You should see me trying to remember my rusty Spanish when we were in Mexico. I have to shout out my Spanish teachers. It came back within about 36 hours. So I could understand. But yes, and even here in Barbados, it's something that we want to see getting into the schools more, because one, it teaches discipline. Two, it tires the little ones out, so they're less likely to give you trouble. Three, it teaches everyone that there are rules, where actually rugby has laws that have to be followed. And as the biological mother of one young man and the adopted mother and rugby auntie of several more, it hurts my heart when I see young men in Barbados involved with violence and crime. It's not something that pleases me. And I think that getting them involved in a structure like rugby, a family, where there are consequences. You do foolishness, there is a consequence. But you also have caring people who will sometimes literally grab you by the scruff of your neck and say, hey, you need to stop doing that.
because it impacts all of us in
That's
this way.
right.
And we all want to be winners. And so there, I was going to use the word a language of the game of rugby, but you discussed that there's rules and disciplines, and you're quite
Laws.
right. And laws, sorry, not disciplines, laws. And so that's what happens in a game of rugby. It's tactical. So you're engaging the brain all the time while also working all of the other muscles and other areas of your body. Right, Pauline?
Yes, definitely. Like Taffy is saying, that those rules and those regulations that we have in rugby, I've seen that change persons in all different ways. Because we had a young man, I cannot forget the situation. He is rough, he's fighting in school, and we are in a school program, that's when I was in Trinidad. And I told him, come play rugby, come try it out. And I always bring this example because it reminds me what rugby does to people. And his mother, I tell him, come train with us, come, let's go. And he came in a couple sessions, and I was like, you cannot shout behind me as a coach. You need to sit down. And he's like, I was like, you need to sit down. And when you're on that field, you listen. And I also educated him and was like, listen, the team is one person short right now because you are not listening and your team is losing. And that's what the discipline rugby teaches you. Teaches you what's important to be part of a group and how important you are to that group. And without you, we are failing. And then after a month or two, his parents came and he's like, I don't know this young man anymore on that field. And that's what touched me in rugby, because the parent came to me and said, I don't know this young man. He's calming somebody else's down. And I think that's what rugby does. Rugby teaches you how to be, where to do things, and how to do things, but also have fun doing it with your friends.
Yes.
So we don't have to be on the street or the roadside on the block. We can do that on the field. Are you angry? Let's go and get a tackle back. Let's tackle today.
Nice.
Let's tackle, right? So it's something rugby does.
You're a part of a team. You support the team. You let the team down when you're not where you're supposed to be, or do the thing you ought to do to take the ball to the other end.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of the discipline of what the sport will bring to our young people. But Rarama is this weekend. When is it? Where is it? Let's talk some statistics and some facts.
Okay, Saturday, February 15th. It's at the home of Barbados Rugby, the Garrison Savannah, the historic Garrison Savannah. Let me give it its proper title. And it starts at 1 o'clock and it runs until 8 o'clock. And there will be matches, as we've said, but there's also going to be fun. There is a thrift market. There's food will be on sale. You can interact with the rugby players and get to know them. Bouncy castle, very important. And all of this is being, there are also going to be prizes. So for the different, I say competition, but it's fun. I think there's like
we have some rugby entertainment going on. So we have so even for the non-rugby persons, just parts of rugby you need for the game to be alive. So we have like some kicking contests. We have some
throwing,
passing. We have some scrums. And what really is scrums is like 3 persons engaging to see who's going to win the ball. So you're going to have a last team standing. So it's continuous bam, 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 trying to see who's going to win. At the end, we have some 60 meters dash. So we have a whole like rugby netball. So different stages in rugby. So even as a parent, you come and support your child, or you just want to be part of the fun. You want something to do on Saturday. There's certain things for you. There's something for everybody. I think so. And I honestly, I tell everybody to come. We also bring in somebody for sign language. So if a kid wants to play and we have somebody to sign at the games. And we have somebody certified in children with autism and children with dyslexia and those kind of things. So we have persons for everything and every part. So if you have a kid that you want to try, see if it works for you, this is the day for you to see if it works for you.
I'm so glad you said that, because it was all the while trying to figure out, on the weekends I spend time with my godsons. What else is there to do?
Bring them down.
Now I know. Now I know. To the Garrison we go on Saturday from 1 in the afternoon until 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Again, that's where the 7 was coming from. 7 hours. So we're there for a little while and we engage from the little ones right up to the mature ones in different ways of rugby. And non-contact in some cases, a little bit of contact in others. But we're just going to expose ourselves to the discipline and the fun and the game and the rudiments of rugby. It's a great, I think, a wonderful afternoon, really, at the Garrison, the historic Garrison,
make
dare
it
I
that
say.
way.
And so out of this, I suppose, then, Kathy, you're looking to recruit over time.
Oh,
some new
absolutely.
ones.
Not just recruit, but also to raise awareness of rugby in Barbados. We need sponsorship. I mean, you know.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of opportunities, not just for players. Obviously, you can get onto the national team. There are opportunities for Barbadian players to play in Canada and other countries.
Yes, there'll be scouts there as well.
There'll be scouts. They'll be looking.
Really?
Yes, there will be scouts because there's some high schools that the coaches will be watching. The games will be live.
Yep.
There are two scouts coming from Exit Rugby, which is Premier League Sevens. So they'll be coming down to Barbados for this event. They're actually here already. So they'll be coming down for the event, and also other scouts for schools, because a lot of high schools are looking to recruit students, and colleges looking to recruit. And we have a lot of students already overseas.
We've had people with some of them have a full ride scholarship. Sometimes it's assistance, but also in a broader picture, even if the particular individual might not be that level of player, you also need coaches, trainers, physios. There's a whole set of things. What would I say? Professions.
Great.
Yeah.
You know, so there's opportunities.
Whoa. I mean, if you have a child at home with energy to burn, this is it for you. If you have the child at home who you find is a little tough, I like to pull, play, jump, hop, do those kinds of
them
things.
down.
This is for you. Ruggarama is for you. If you have the child at home who may be a little bit reserved, but you want to get them out of their shell, bring them down to Ruggarama as well on Saturday. And if you have that girl child who you think has the potential to become very sportswoman-like, bring her too, because rugby is not just for the boys, it's also for the girls. So it's mixed. If you have the child who has a learning or other kind of physical challenge, bring them as well. There's opportunity for them to engage and do the regular things that regular people do. This is not a sport that discriminates in any possible way at all. So so they tell me I should definitely have to go. I definitely have to go to
Yes,
rugby.
you
I have
do.
a lot of energy.
You do have to come down
Go
to
and work
rugby.
off my energy, right?
Yes. Bring the godsons.
Of course, the boys have to come. The boys have to come. And because just the other, actually last weekend, we bought one of those rugby balls.
Lovely.
And then we had them up at the field playing. So I know I'm going to be harassed. They're listening. I know. I'm going to, Uncle, you said.
You said it in front of the whole of Barbados.
Exactly. So now I have to fulfill what I said. Lord have mercy, what did I do? But nonetheless, you know, it's going to be a wonderful Saturday at the historic Garrison Savannah for Ruggarama. Now you know what it is. Now you know what time it starts, where to go, what's involved. 15s series, men and women, mixed T1 game, non-contact for men and women. There's a vet game for 10s, touch, of course. And if you're doing it for the love of rugby, it's really quite simple. A bouncy castle, thrift market, open bar, food stalls, and a whole lot more, and some prizes and surprises. It's absolutely free. We want all of you to come on down. It's going to start at 1, end at 8, so you know at some point the lights will transition, and then that's when the action starts.
We have lights.
Yes, the historic Garrison has lights. So it's going to be really fantastic indeed. So if you're fast, you're slow, if you're differently abled in any way, tall,
short, thick, skinny, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There's
Neck
a
or no
spot.
neck.
There's a place for everybody.
Neck or no neck.
Neck or no neck.
It's for you indeed. So let's do this. Saturday, let's do this. For the love of rugby, Ruggarama. Now you know. Don't mistake it. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you very
I'm not going to
much.
let you escape without asking the question. If you discover you're a giant, what would be your what's the question again? So I don't get it wrong? Oh, yes. What would be your biggest inconvenience? Kathy? Everybody else around you is dwarfed by comparison. So,
I don't know, boy. Probably finding a big enough mug to drink my morning cocoa.
Trust you.
My morning cocoa, that's a must.
Trust you, Kathy.
Yeah, I think so. I need a bigger mug.
What about you, Pauline?
To me, just how would I be able to assist other people that are smaller than me around? Because I think it would be a challenge for them to come to my height or to just meet me somewhere. And also, how do I sleep? Like, I need a big enough bed.
Yes.
I need a big enough bed. Like, well, what size is my door?
How do you get out
How
the
do
house?
I get out of the house?
Precisely, all of that.
Without breaking the house.
How would I?
But
would
you
I be
would have
walking
no-
everywhere?
How would you deal?
How am I going to get around?
In what car?
Would
In
I
what
be
bus? Yes. What would you do with about a rugby team, Kathy?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
We'll be
gotcha.
indestructible.
I'd be playing rugby for sure.
Imagine all of us being giants on the rugby field. I don't think any country can beat us.
No.
Here we go. You see, so we've opened up all the possibilities
All
this
the
morning.
possibilities.
Thank you, ladies. All the best indeed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're
Appreciate
welcome.
the support.
We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Get away. Are you and your bae ready for the ultimate getaway? 98.1 The One and Mornin Barbados are teaming up to give 4 lucky couples a chance to win an unforgettable vacation. Here's the deal. Starting January 20th through February 15th, send us a video to marketing@cbc.bb or via WhatsApp to 467-5465, telling us why you and your bae deserve a vacation. Videos must be 30 to 90 seconds long and may be shared on social media and on TV8. Be creative, be fun, and most importantly, show us the love. Submit your video and you and your bae could be packing your bags for an epic staycation. So, what are you waiting for? Send those videos in and let's make it a vacation to remember.
Vacation. Get away.
This promotion is brought to you by our valued sponsors, Pine Hill Dairy, Burger King, Post Wireless World, Girlfriend Expo and Arts Festival 2025, The Magic of Carnival, Hilton Barbados, Coconut Court Hotel, Ross Trevor Hotel, 98.1 The One, and Mornin Barbados.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
26 minutes now to 8 o'clock, and before I go a minute further, let me say good morning and happy birthday today to Ernie Young. Ernie Young, the Rendezvous, who celebrates her double 8 today. Ernie, good morning and congratulations to you on this anniversary of your birthday. I hope you have a marvelous today, as I always say. So congratulations to you indeed on this celebration, and a very good morning to my good friend Betty Lynch as well. Betty, have yourself a terrific today. Now we turn our attention to the whole question of emotional intelligence, and I ask the question, is it possible to raise a more intelligent, emotionally intelligent generation? Is that even remotely possible? Well, one man knows the answers to that because he has an opportunity for all of us to find out for ourselves how to do so. He's Tony Olton, who is the principal consultant of the Potter Center, founder chairman of the Caribbean Institute for Social and Emotional Learning. Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning, Payson. Top of the morning. Always good to see you. Especially good to see you in your element.
In my element. You should see me at home. That's also my element. But listen, you know, Tony, for a long time, you have been almost like the lone voice in the wilderness talking about emotional intelligence for so long. And so this, no doubt, is a passion of yours. And so the question is, can we raise a more emotionally intelligent generation? You say?
I say yes, a resounding yes. And I say an absolute necessity. Barbados is currently in a place of significant crisis. And we have sought to mount all kinds of responses, all well intended. The challenge is that we have not yet got a fix on the importance that emotions play in our lives. That the reality is that as smart as we think we are, as lettered, as many initials as we have behind our names, at the end of the day, we make decisions fundamentally on the basis of an emotion or a mix of emotions. But we've not studied, we've not learned the language of emotions. And emotions are a universal language. What do I mean by that? We all know sadness. We all know joy. We all know peace, happiness, regret, guilt, shame. We all share commonality in the experience of our emotions. What is different is our ability to recognize, use, and manage, understand and manage those emotions.
A lot of times we call those emotions, or anyone who seeks to get in touch with their emotions, soft. And so we have to unlearn that paradigm and shift it to another paradigm. I always say, you can't stop, you have to keep going, so therefore you replace. And how do you go about now replacing this negative connotation of what emotions are and emotional intelligence with a more positive?
Right. So you have to recognize that emotions are neither negative nor positive, good nor bad. They just are. The example I use is that of the light that comes on when the gas in your car is low. That is a signal to you. It gives you information, and you get to make a decision on the basis of that information. So when my light comes on, I know I can probably get another 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, whatever the number is. So I can decide, do I risk this trip, or do I find myself to the nearest service station? Emotions exist and work on exactly and precisely the same basis. Your emotions tell you what is going on with you. And as you develop that greater awareness and sensitivity about your own emotions, then it predisposes you to be what the term is empathic. That is to be able to read and understand what is going on with the other person, and then be able to engage with that shared language. Just as we speak English or French or Spanish, we can speak the language of emotions because we understand our emotions, and it's a language that all of us understand.
That requires the individual, to my mind, to stop and introspect and put into context so that you can better able to regurgitate when you need to do so. But the question often is, how do we stop to take the time to introspect? Because we're such in a very hurried world.
Awareness. God in his infinite wisdom gave us two eyes, and we look out. We can see. I put it this way. We know everybody's business. We know what is going on with everyone because we're looking out. We don't spend enough time with introspection. We don't spend enough time with reflection. We don't spend enough time looking back. We don't spend enough time trying to understand, what did they just say? What did they just do? What thought did they just have? Where did that come from? What's driving that? So the first step in transitioning, that was the original question. The first step in transitioning to that place where we can take control of our emotions is first of all to become the observer of ourselves, the observer of our emotions. Have that awareness. What we say is that you can't change what you don't observe. So you have to become an observer of self. We say watch yourself like a hawk. Pay attention to self. Pay attention to what is going on with you. And then stop. Stop and you ask yourself, I know what thought arose. I know what feeling arose. I have a sense of where that's coming from. What are my options? So we're talking about transitioning from reacting to responding. If we react, if you hit me, I hit you back.
Yes.
If you don't speak to me, I don't speak to you. If we respond, we ask ourselves, what are my options? How can I possibly respond in this circumstance to this person, to this experience, to this moment? And importantly, the third question is, what is it that I want? at the end of this moment, this experience, this day, this week, this month, in the long term, what is it that I'm seeking? What is it that I'm chasing? Because what I want is going to inform which of the options that are available to me I take.
So it's, again, unlearning to learn again. And
Unlearning,
so it's a process that is constant and
lifelong.
Yeah, lifelong and repetition. And so that's the thing. And you have to commit to wanting to change. And it's in that commitment that then you are able to make the next step and the next and the next. So you find yourself going forward as opposed to either standing still or regressing. And so you've formed a series of workshops to help us do this. Talk to me about what we can expect and when those workshops will be.
So it's more than workshops. What we have designed and put together is a national initiative. What informs that approach is Genesis 11 and verse 6. Genesis 11 treats to the building of the Tower of Babel, where the people in this city called Babel, in a moment in time said, let us build a tower that will reach from earth to heaven so that our fame will be known throughout the earth. So they knew what they wanted to achieve. They knew why they wanted to achieve it. And they built agreement around that intent and that purpose. What we have designed and what we're bringing to Barbados, we're saying, look, CISL, the Caribbean Institute for Social and Emotional Learning, yes, we can continue a class of 10, a class of 20, but reaching our goal of having 50,000 Barbadians practicing emotional intelligence. I will die and never achieve that. So what we want to do is to expand the number of persons who have this awareness, who understand the models that we're using, who understand the language within those models, so that in the spaces that they occupy. So you had rugby on just now. You have persons previously talking about issues around abuse. We have Alcoholics Anonymous, we have the cadets, we have the Scouts, all kinds of organizations seeking to make positive difference in people's lives. What we're saying is, here is a framework that if you understand and embrace this framework, in your space, in the goals that you are chasing within your organization, you can use this framework, these models, this language, to be able to embellish, enhance what you are doing as you seek to help people bring about change in their lives. So we have 6 elements that make up the program that we design and we roll out. We're going to launch on March the 3rd. March the 3rd is social and is internationally recognized as Social and Emotional Learning Day, SEL. So emotional intelligence, 2 seconds. Emotional intelligence is the skills to recognize, use, understand, and manage emotions. Those skills are self-awareness, self-regulation, self-control, self-discipline, however you want to put it, self-motivation, social awareness, and relationship building skills. Social and emotional learning is the process by which you acquire those skills of emotional intelligence. So coming back to the program that we designed and we're rolling out, there's 6 elements. And you have it on the screen, what we have developed is a series of handbooks that are audience specific. So that there is an emotional intelligence handbook for students. There is a social and emotional and learning handbook for educators. There is an emotional intelligence handbook for the parents. And there is an emotional intelligence handbook for the general public. What does that mean? That means that we're going to flood the place. Right now, social media is very pervasive. So people get to see and experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. What we're going to do is flood Barbados through the schools. We've made contact with over 100 organizations that we call them helping organizations. What you're seeing is the workbook. These workbooks are going to be distributed through the schools, clubs, organizations who, like us, are seeking to make a difference. So we expect we're going to print anywhere upwards of 250,000 of these workbooks. Obviously, different numbers for the different workbooks that have been developed. We're also going to develop video content This video content is going to be messaging and reinforcing the messages within the same handbooks. And they will then be used through social media, any number of platforms that we have access to. Posters are going to be available within the schools. We're going to produce a monthly newsletter that promotes and supports the development of emotional intelligence. We're going to run essays, speech contests, debates, quizzes, etc. Importantly, every summer, there are a number of persons who run summer camps. We're saying, no, we're not coming to the summer camps for 2 hours and then leave. We're going to provide training for those who run summer camps so that the message and the messaging that students are getting in school when they go to summer camps, hey, here's what, camp directors and camp counselors are speaking the same language, exhibiting the same behaviors. So we are reinforcing the whole concept of social emotional learning and emotional intelligence. Over the last 5 years, with the exception of 2020, we have run summer workshops, for teachers. We're going to continue doing that. We're going to try to run 3 of those this year. And importantly as well, we're going to reach out to the swath of what is now known as the third sector organizations, charities, any and all organizations that are again engaged in people and people development and people empowerment, and provide them with the same resources, the same tools, the same language, and the same training, so that we have certainly at least 10, 15, 20,000 people in Barbados who are like Tower of Babel.
Yes.
Made an agreement to contribute collectively to the change within Barbados. We know why we want to do it, and we're going to put our hands. So tonight, Wednesday, the 12th of February, we've invited those 100+ organizations to join us, where we will have an orientation for them. So we bring them into the know. And then on March the 3rd, we will have our official launch. The official launch comes off at the St. Leonard School, and we deliberately chose the St. Leonard School because the St. Leonard School is a prime example of what happens when adults are intentional in bringing change to people's lives. So we've reserved the St. Leonard School. So 2 o'clock on the 3rd of March, we're going to launch this initiative, raising a more emotionally intelligent generation. How do we help the generation that is behind?
Yes.
To walk a path where we've changed the conversation from all the crime and violence and lawlessness that is going on to a generation that goes on to fulfill its greatest potential, manifest all the gifts that God has deposited in them.
We love to see success stories. Is that captured within this whole concept as well? Because best examples, best practices.
Yes. So we're going to be using local actors for videos, and the newsletter is intended to be that vehicle, that medium through which we promote success stories.
What I love is that you're able to help us in this series first understand our emotions and give them their appropriate name so that we know what it is that we are managing here. And then out of it, we can now understand whether it is to the left or to the right, and we make a decision. And that helps us to reach the destination. You know, I often say to people when they ask me, but what do? I always say, you know, your best decision is the one where you've considered all of the consequences, and the consequences with which you can live is your best decision. Because you'll never have a perfect outcome.
I think I'm going to recruit you as one of our facilitators.
Listen, you can't afford me, Tony.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. But you're
my humble apologies.
That's all right, my brother. But I'm in sync with everything you're talking about, because I think it is important. I love how you are so fully encompassing everyone, the society, the parents, the schools, the individuals, the children, the church, the organizations, because it has to be all of us in this together. It can't be one sector trying to do it and the other is not in concert with it.
Yes. No one of us can solve the problems we're having.
Yes.
No one of us.
Yes.
It's going to require a collective effort. That question of it takes a village. It is going to take whole of country to turn Barbados around. Just want to comment, going back to what you said, because I want to drop this and leave this with your viewers. What we teach is, if you can name your emotions, hear this, you can tame your emotions. That's the old question of being emotionally literate. Having the language to be able to express and explain your emotions. A lot of the violence that we see a lot of the abuse, a lot of the neglect, a lot of the dysfunction that we see stems from a lack of the ability to first recognize, name, and express emotions. Yeah? So if you can name your emotions, you have become the observer, you've separated yourself from the emotions. If you can name your emotions, you can tame your emotions.
I like that. If you can name your emotions, you can tame your emotions. You're absolutely right on that score. So I'm excited about this. I can't wait to hear more as it unfolds. The launching is on the 3rd of March. And yeah, and so following that, then, of course, we will all see how it all plays out, and we will check in with you from time to time to get some updates. You know, what's being fed back, and what are the progress steps as well, the milestones that are reached as you go as well. So, Tony Olton, thank you so much for joining us. And you're not going to escape the question. If you found that you were a giant, what would be your biggest inconvenience? I mean, you're a tall man already.
So I have an advantage, because I've heard the question posed this morning about 7 or 8 different times, so I've had time to give it thought.
Yes.
And my answer is this. My biggest challenge will be the inability to have eye contact. I'm serious. What people don't recognize.
You're right.
I run workshops. With the advent of COVID and Zoom, etc., I do quite a bit of my work online now. And I ask, I beg, I plead, please turn on your cameras.
Yes.
Because we think that when we're communicating, it's our words. Words only constitute 7% of our communication.
Yes.
More of the meaning and the intent of our communication is had through our tone, and most importantly, through our body language. So that you remember Judge Judy, look me in the eyes.
Oh yes. Listen, you're talking my language, you know, and that's my girl. The same Judge Judy. Look at me. She can see. You will see, and you're quite right on that. Boy, Tony and I are in sync in so many different ways.
The eyes, they say, are the window. The eyes, they say, are the window to the soul.
That's right.
So that ability to look the other person in the eye and communicate, powerful human experience.
Absolutely. We learned so much from you this morning, Tony Olton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Right. Thanks for having me. All the best.
You're welcome. You too. That is such an inspiring moment in time just now. And remember, folks, we can all together raise a more emotionally intelligent generation, but we have to be determined and decisive and intelligent in doing so. So listen up and look out for those opportunities to engage with this program through Tony Olton's efforts. And when you do, please, I'm not begging, I'm hoping that you will really intentionally seek to make the change. First, understand, then to make the change. Name it, and then you can tame it, that emotion. We're coming back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience. The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
An hour of inspiration, celebration, soulful praise, and uplifting messages that will refresh your soul and fill your heart with joy. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Quality 100.7 FM radio, bringing you closer to the music, the message, and the ministry. It's your Sunday moment of praise and purpose, where faith meets music. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Q 100.7 FM.
CBC TV8, the home of championships, will be bringing live coverage of Gold Cup, NAPSAT and BSAT in the month of March. Packages are available for sponsorship now. Contact your CBC sales representative today or call 4...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Now, don't forget, on Friday, we're coming to you live from Old Town as Old Town wraps up its annual festival this year. So wake up a little earlier just so you can see us, because we are going to be up even earlier to get there to bring you from Old Town live the action there, as it will be the final weekend for the Old Town Festival. We want to know what's in store, what you can expect there as well. Remember the vacation. Don't forget to get your entries in by the 15th of the month. Now, I want to share with you something where Double M of Trinidad and Tobago met Double M of Barbados. And it's in a song called Party that is really rising the charts in Trinidad and Tobago. We can tell you that because we know for sure. Have you ever heard the song or seen the song? Take a look at this and you'll see who is Double M Trinidad and who's Double M Barbados.
Proud of you. We watch you from a boy to a man, carry Caribbean culture to the world. And you know, when you graduate today, we anticipate a big, big celebration. You know why? Because in our region, in the Caribbean, when we work hard, we deserve to party, always.
Work so hard every week. Explicit, boy. We deserve a party. So tell everybody. And let's get it started. Hey! Why yo? Hey, I'm telling you, all work and no play, me say, no way. We don't want no butter that I need a stress reliever. 2 drinks in the hand and a girl in the middle. That's the gun we need to find, the middle. For the sake of peace of mind, so the middle of the road is where you'll find me and my friend and them, because we work so hard all week. We deserve a party. We deserve it. Say we deserve it. Yeah, we deserve it. Tell all your friends and them. Tell all the girls and them. Bring all your friends and them. And let's get it started. I say, oh yo, all folk have us and take a jump, and like we started by the truck, like we started by the truck. Party on the road is a party on the road. Light it up, bring the shots and light it up. Party on the road is a party on the road. Look at lights in the back, watch my canal in the front. Party on the road is a party on the road. Everybody on the road, so let me see your hands up in the air, wave them up in the band. People from everywhere, welcome down to the land of the party. We love to party. Why yo, 'cause life is for the living, so we living it. And thanks is to be given, so we giving it. So don't be late, the truck and them can't wait. We have things to celebrate. I'm telling you, hard work without the smart work, it now work. We don't want no butter that I need a little breather. 2 days on the road with some jam in the middle. That's the gun we need to find, the middle. For the sake of peace of mind, so the middle of the road is where you'll find me and my friend and them, because we work so hard all week. We deserve a party. We deserve it. Say we deserve it. Yeah, we deserve it. Tell all your friends and them. Tell all the girls and them. Bring all your friends and them. And let's get it started. I say, oh yo, all folk have us and take a jump, and like we started by the truck, like we started by the truck. Party on the road is a party on the road.
Ooh, sweetener. Party Boy by Double M, Mashal Montano from Trinidad and Tobago. Double M, Mia Motley of Barbados, right there in that song that is riding up the charts in Trinidad and Tobago. That's our time today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Our little crew joins me in saying that to you as well. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, good morning.
Morning Barbados, good